news finds you.
All stations can keep up. At Adaba FM, we'll not only give you news at the speed of nanosecond, but we'll also break it down with up-to-date analysis, informed opinions, and distinct professionalism. That's why you love us. Adaba 88.9 FM, your go-to station.
It's 12 o'clock. Good afternoon, I'm Michael Akintunde with the Global News. In the news, Nigerian becomes first black mayor in U.S. municipal. Sarkozy loses corruption appeal. Real Madrid arrive at Etihad for Manchester City showdown.
This is the news.
The President-elect Bola Tinubu and the Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima have urged the Presidential Election Petition Court to dismiss the application by Atiku Abubakar and the People's Democratic Party for a live broadcast of proceedings. They argued that the relief sought by the applicant is not such that the court could grant it. Besides describing the application as frivolous, they said the court is not a soapbox, stadium or theatre where the public should be entertained. Through their team of lawyers led by Chief Wale Olanipekun, they wondered why a petitioner would file an application to distract the court and waste its precious time. They stated in the counter affidavit that the application relates to policy formulation of the court, which is outside the Presidential Election Petition Court's jurisdiction as constituted. A Nigerian, Yemi Mobalade, has been elected the mayor of Colorado Springs, a municipality in Colorado in the United States. With his victory at the polls, Mobalade becomes the first black man elected to lead the city in political upheaval. The new mayor, a Nigerian immigrant and businessman, won the seat with no political experience. Mobalade becomes the mayor after he defeated Wayne Williams on Tuesday night in the city's runoff contest. Mobalade's victory represents a political earthquake in Colorado Springs, long known as a conservative stronghold, when Williams is a Republican while Mobalade is unaffiliated. Mobalade had received 57% of the vote to Williams' 43% as of 7:15 p.m. on Tuesday. Williams conceded at about 7:30 p.m. Mobalade will succeed Mayor John Suthers, a former federal prosecutor and Colorado Attorney General, who was term limited to become the city's 42nd mayor. The United Nations says $3.3 billion will be needed to provide urgent aid to people in conflict-ravaged Sudan and to over 1 million expected to flee into neighboring countries this year. The UN said needs have soared since a bloody conflict erupted in Sudan on April the 15th, revising up its response plan for the country. Battles erupted between Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and his former deputy Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, who leads the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Around 1,000 people have been killed, mainly in and around Khartoum, as well as the ravaged state of West Darfur. The fighting has deepened the humanitarian crisis in Sudan, where 1 in 3 people already relied on humanitarian assistance before the war. The UN said a full $2.56 billion is now expected to be needed to provide assistance inside Sudan, up from the $1.75 billion estimated at the end of last year. And former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has lost his appeal against a prison sentence for corruption. However, the Paris Appeals Court ruled that he could serve his time at home wearing a tag instead of going to jail. In 2021, Sarkozy was sentenced to 3 years in prison, including 2 suspended for trying to influence a judge in a separate case in 2014. The 67-year-old was the first former French president to get a custodial sentence. And former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro spoke to police in several hours as part of an investigation into the alleged forgery of COVID-19 vaccination certificates for himself and his inner circle. Bolsonaro, whose house was raided as part of the same investigation earlier this month, arrived at the federal police headquarters in Brasilia in a car with tinted windows and left 4 hours later without speaking to newsmen. Bolsonaro advisor Fabio Wajatan said on Twitter that in his testimony to police, the far-right vaccine former president denied involvement in the alleged plot. According to Wajatan, Bolsonaro answered all the questions and reiterated that he had never been vaccinated, that he was unaware of any and all initiatives for eventual forgery, insertion, or alteration in his vaccination card, as well as that of his daughter. The federal police say they uncovered a scheme in which a top Bolsonaro aide, Army Colonel Mauro CID, allegedly tapped a network of contacts in the health system and government to obtain fraudulent vaccination certificates for Bolsonaro, the president's daughter, himself, his wife, and daughters, and 2 other presidential aides. You're listening to Global News on Adaba 80.9 FM, Accra, transmitting from Ilaramokin. After the break, Real Madrid arrive at the yard for Manchester City showdown. Stay with us. We'll be back again.
You can place your business and brand adverts on Adaba 88.9 FM online platforms, at Adaba FM TV on YouTube, Adaba 88.9 FM on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. With an audience of over 60,000 people across all our social media platforms and a reach of over 315,000 overall. Call these numbers today to push your markets before that audience. Kadzim on 080 3041444 or Hazan on 080 650 77920 or Feyi on 0814 138 8719 or Temi on 080 66 766 944.
The news on Adaba 88.9 FM.
Glad to know you're still there for news updates and live streaming. Visit our website www.adaba889.fm or download Adaba FM app on Google Play Store. You can be part of us on our social media platforms www.facebook.com/AdabFM80.9 on Facebook, at Adaba889FM on Instagram, and Adaba FM TV on YouTube. You can provide us information via email newsroom@adaba889.fm. A group of primary school children has suffered traumatic, life-changing injuries after a horrific bus crash in Melbourne, Australia. The bus was carrying 45 students when police say it was hit by a truck from behind and rolled on Tuesday afternoon. Some 18 children aged 5 to 11 were rushed to hospital, many for emergency surgery. One remains in intensive care. The truck driver has been charged with dangerous driving causing serious injury. Australia has a below-average road safety record compared to other advanced economies. New Zealand police have launched a homicide inquiry into a fire at an emergency housing hostel in Wellington, where at least 6 people were killed. Officials said up to 20 people were still missing, and they were treating the blaze as an act of arson. The fire had broken out at the 4-story Loafers Lodge hostel early Tuesday, forcing residents to the rooftop and some to jump from windows. Due to the damage, police have not yet been able to confirm the death toll. However, the warned that number could rise on Wednesday as a team of investigators were sent into the building after an assessment of the building's integrity. A Chinese comedy troupe has been slapped with a $2.1 million penalty for a joke about the military that invoked a slogan from President Xi Jinping. The quip which likened the behavior of a comedian's dogs to military conduct, irked authorities. The section guy, culture media, cool and comic Lee Shoshi had humiliated the People's Army. The company accepted the penalty and terminated Mr. Lee's contract. The offending remark was made during a stand-up performance in Beijing on the weekend when Mr. Lee alluded to canids he had adopted, which were chasing his career. And Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola says his legacy is exceptional as he prepares for Wednesday's Champions League semi-final second leg against Real Madrid. Treble-chasing City, who have never been European champions, drew 1-1 at the Santiago Bernabeu in last Tuesday's first leg. Guardiola has won 2 Champions Leagues as a manager with Barcelona in 2009 and 2011. Meanwhile, Real Madrid manager Carlo Ancelotti says his side need bravery and courage if they are to beat Man City today and reach the Champions League final. The others head into the match at Etihad Stadium on level terms after the 1-1 draw in the first leg of the semi-final, but Ancelotti said the tie is not just about quality. Ancelotti, who has won the competition twice with AC Milan and twice with Real Madrid, is expecting a strong start from City star players, but he is relishing the prospect of fighting back if needed. To end global news, a recap of our top stories. A Nigerian, Yemi Mobolade, has been elected the mayor of Colorado Springs, a municipality in Colorado, in the United States. And former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has lost his appeal against a prison sentence for corruption. Real Madrid have arrived at Etihad as Manchester City beat to make it past them as defending champions of the UEFA Champions League. And that's Adaba News. And that's Global News Editor Adiola Adekunle and Michael Akintunde. Good afternoon.
The one moves as a fast